Hi there, welcome to Heart Smart Home Cooking. I'm Laura Mucon, and all through the month of March, we are talking about healthy recipes because March is Nutrition Month. Now with me is Christine Hood. Now you're a nutritional manager at the Heart and Stroke Foundation in Manitoba, and we're talking about this little pamphlet here. We've got some great recipes and great ideas to lower the sodium in our diets and just to cook healthy. So what are we making today?
Well, we've got a great recipe today. It's a comfort food with a little bit of a twist. So we're making polka dot mac and cheese. So it's going to be a great heart-healthy meal and something the kids are going to get into as well.
Now right here, cooking really hot right now with some canola oil, and we're going to add some onions to that. But why are we using canola oil in the first place?
Well, we're going to add we're going to add those onions right away. We're using canola oil again because it's a heart-healthy oil. We know that it's high in unsaturated fats, and those are the kind of fats that are heart-healthy fats that can help to lower our blood cholesterol. Canola is also a convenient oil, and it's local. It's a great oil for using for everyday cooking and baking.
And canola, the canola growers are actually a big part of this cooking series. They help put it all together. How are they involved in all this?
That's right. The Manitoba Canola Growers and Heart and Stroke Foundation of Manitoba, we partner to develop these new recipes so we can share with everybody for Nutrition Month.
Okay, and if you keep watching at the end of the show, we're going to give you all the information about how you can get these recipes and try them out at home. But I'm a little cynical about comfort food being healthy. How does that translate?
Well, quite often comfort foods are not considered to be healthy foods, but we're going to talk about how making just a couple of changes to a macaroni and cheese can make it a healthier food. So we're going to add these polka dots in, which you and I are getting ready to chop up here.
Okay.
And these are going to be one of the items that are going to make this a healthier choice. We're also using, for the macaroni in this recipe, we're using a whole wheat macaroni. And that's a really easy way to up the nutritional content of this recipe because we're using a whole wheat as opposed to a white. That's a quick and easy way to just basically double the amount of fiber in your recipe, just like that.
So sneaking in vegetables and really at every step of the way trying to get those high whole wheat kind of products in there rather than the white flour and stuff like that.
That's right.
And getting kids to eat vegetables when they don't know it.
Well, I mean, I think part of it is that, but part of it is also teaching them the importance of getting those servings in. We know adults need 7 to 10 servings of veggies and fruit every day, and school-age kids need between 5 and 8. So we need to, that's not going to happen by itself, right? So we need to talk about it, we need to make steps to incorporate those into recipes, and not just meals, but snacks as well.
So the folks at the Heart and Stroke Foundation here in Manitoba have been doing a lot of homework, and you guys have actually gone out and compared restaurants with grocery stores of all the recipes here. So let's look at our first comparison chart. Now, what are we comparing with this polka dot macaroni and cheese and other sorts of macaroni and cheese that you'd find in a restaurant, let's say?
Well, we've done a number of comparisons, and we looked first at the nutritional comparison between our recipes that we've made here and some restaurants and convenience items of a similar type. We've also looked at some cost comparisons, just for interest's sake as well. So if we can add some flour into this, we're just going to get that coated. And with the comparison that we've done, first of all, in the area of cost, I don't think it's a big surprise that ordering mac and cheese out at a restaurant would be more expensive than making it at home. But even when you compare it to the convenience items, the boxed macaroni and cheese, which is very inexpensive, our mac and cheese on a per serving basis was only a few cents more. But when you look at the nutrition difference that was involved there, there was quite a bit involved in that, just those few cents difference.
Because keep in mind, what you're seeing in this chart is per serving, not for the entire
That's
thing.
right, and we just did a very sort of rough estimate of what some of these servings would be like. But there's certainly some obvious results that we came out with that. Now, when we were talking about the nutritional differences, that was where it was even more obvious. What we found from the comparison was that our homemade mac and cheese had more fiber, less saturated fat, and when you look at the sodium, the restaurant and convenience items had between 2 and 3 times the amount of sodium than our recipe did. And that's a big deal because we know that Canadians eat 3,500 milligrams of sodium every day on average. That's double what we need.
Wow.
And we also know that every year 17,000 Canadians can suffer a heart attack or stroke simply as a result of too much sodium.
Wow.
So certainly some good reasons to be cooking at home.
Yes, for sure. So I just want to recap our viewers here. What we've done is we've added some whole wheat flour, again, trying to sneak that whole wheat stuff in there. So that's looking, it's almost like a roux, isn't it?
It is, that's right. This is going to be our sauce that we're making. So that's going to just take a couple of minutes to thicken up, and that's, like you said, going to be our sauce for this recipe. And once that is all thickened up, we're going to just add in our other ingredients, and that's basically it. It's also a very easy and convenient meal to make at home.
Okay. Well, this sauce has thickened up nicely, and it's amazing because there's no butter, there's no cream, there's none of those elements that you'd think you'd need to make a creamy sauce.
That's right. We've made our cream sauce by basically just by using some whole wheat flour and then some reduced fat milk, and that's basically all that is going to be needed. And the next thing we're going to do now that it's thickened is we're going to add some cheese to that
And remove
sauce.
it from the heat.
And remove it from the heat. So we're using 1.5 cups of reduced fat old cheddar cheese. Now we're using old cheddar cheese because it's going to have a sharper flavor. 1.5 cups isn't a lot of cheese to use in a mac and cheese recipe, so part of what makes this heart healthy is the fact that we're not using a lot of cheese.
Okay.
So by using an older cheese, that's going to give it a little bit of extra flavor. So that's going to just melt in there if you want to mix that around.
Okay.
And after that cheese is melted in there, all we really need to do is fold in the rest of the ingredients, or the polka dots, as it were,
Okay.
and the macaroni, and that's really all that we need to do.
So let's recap the recipe really quickly. We started sauteing some onions in canola oil,
Right.
and then we added some whole wheat flour.
That's right.
Pepper.
Pepper, yeah, we'll put a little bit of pepper in here now, actually. A little bit of flavor there. We're not
And
adding
then-
any salt, so the pepper is going to give us some more flavor.
No salt,
No
of course. So, okay. So how much? We added 1.5 cups of cheese?
That's right, 1.5 cups of cheese,
Okay.
and that's melted in there nicely, so we can add in our macaroni.
It looks great. It looks
Yeah.
like macaroni and cheese.
It's a really easy cheese sauce to make, and you can make this for a number of other recipes as well.
So I know you have kids at home. Have you tried this on them, and did they buy it?
You know,
Did they
the
like
kids
it?
love it. The kids
Really?
love it. At first, they were a little bit unsure because it does have a different look to it,
Mm-hmm.
but they're definitely on board, and it's a great recipe for our family now as well.
Okay.
So we're going to add in these vegetables as well. So we've got 1 carrot that's been shredded. We've got a
Okay.
cup of broccoli.
Okay.
And these other polka dots that we were working on was 1/2 of a yellow pepper and 1/2 of a red pepper. Now, another quick tip, because it only calls for 1/2 a pepper, to make good use of the other 1/2, you can chop those up into strips for tomorrow's lunch, and that's a good way to get more veggies into the lunch as well, and
That is a good
make good
idea.
use of that.
So kids could really help out with this recipe. I mean, it's once you've chopped most of the stuff, it's really just adding. And there's such a great value to having kids in the kitchen. First of all, they love it. They absolutely love being in the kitchen. But why else are we kind of trying to encourage that?
Well, that's a great question. You know, we know that kids are more likely to accept new foods when they're involved in the actual preparation of the food. And like you said, it's a natural thing. They love to be in the kitchen. So that's an important part. There's lots of things in this recipe that the kids can be involved in a supervised way, with either the chopping, if they're older, the grating of the cheese, the mixing of the ingredients together. There's lots of good kid-friendly things that can be done with this.
Okay, and it looks beautiful.
And the other
Yeah.
part that's important too is once the meal is complete, you want to sit down and eat it as a family as well, because we know that it's not just what you eat, but how that can make a difference as well.
Okay, so how are we going to serve this up? Now, I know you have a couple of unique suggestions.
We've got a couple of options here. There's 2 things you can do with this recipe. One of them would be to transfer this into a 3-liter casserole dish, and that will cook at about 350 degrees in the oven for about 30 minutes.
Okay.
But another option that would make it kid-friendly would be to use these individual ramekins, and you can just do individual portions, and those would cook for only about 15 or 20 minutes. And that's a little bit kid-friendly too. Everybody likes to have their own little portion.
And a beautiful presentation. All the cooking shows talk about the presentation. So if a child sees this individual dish, that feels pretty special.
That's
But
right.
these ramekins are also a part of a new thing that we're doing here at the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Manitoba cooking series is we have a big prize giveaway. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this year we do have a Heart Smart Home Cooking prize package. So the prize package contains a number of different cooking tools and utensils that we've used in all of the segments. And today's contribution to the package is a set of these ramekins.
A great prize package you can win. We have all the information about how you can enter that prize and find the recipes and the website and all that coming up. But also there's this chef's hat that the first 50 people get if they enter.
That's right. The first 50 people who enter the contest will win a Manitoba Canola Growers Heart and Stroke Foundation of Manitoba authentic chef hat.
It's a real chef's hat. So all the information is coming up for that, so you might want to grab a pen. But of course, as in most cooking shows, we have prepared the polka dot macaroni and cheese in advance. And here's how it looks finished. It looks great. It looks like a complete, authentic, comforting macaroni and cheese.
It's a great meal, and we've added a glass of milk and some carrot sticks, and it's a great meal for a busy weeknight supper.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much, Christine.
Thank you.
Special thanks to the Manitoba Canola Growers Association and to Cargill for helping bring Heart Smart Home Cooking to viewers across the province. If you would like to get a copy of today's recipe, or if you'd like to enter the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Manitoba's Heart Smart Home Cooking contest, you can click on heartandstroke.mb.ca or phone 949-2000 in Winnipeg or toll free at 1-888-473-4636.